I have been sitting here staring at the latest updates regarding our Minnesota Vikings, and honestly, the uncertainty surrounding our quarterback room is starting to keep me up at night. Something is developing that could shake up the entire direction of this franchise sooner than any of us expected. It is wild to think about the potential moves on the table, but the stakes here feel incredibly personal for every single one of us. The more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is happening behind the scenes. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city below. Let's get into it. The Minnesota Vikings are currently at the center of a shocking trade rumor involving quarterback J.J. McCarthy, a headline that has sent shockwaves through our entire fan base. We selected McCarthy with massive expectations just 2 years ago, pinning our hopes on him as the future of this franchise under the guidance of our acclaimed quarterback whisperer Kevin O'Connell. Despite being placed in a high-octane offense, McCarthy struggled to reach his potential, battling injury issues and ultimately finishing his 10 starts in the bottom 10 of several key performance metrics. Now, the news has emerged that new general manager Nolan Teasley is reportedly open to exploring a trade involving the former first-round pick. The timing is particularly jarring, as this conversation is surfacing in the quiet heat of July, suggesting the organization might be losing patience with his lack of developmental progress. As Minnesota Vikings fans, the reaction has been a volatile mix of confusion and frustration, as we are struggling to reconcile the capital we spent to acquire him with the reality of his inconsistent production on the field. This hits hard because we collectively believed McCarthy would be the long-term answer, and the idea of moving on so quickly feels like a major admission of a failed experiment. And here is why that is a big deal, because if we move on, we have to find a viable replacement, leading to whispers about potential swaps for players like Shedeur to stabilize the position behind a veteran like Kyler Murray. The bottom line here is that our front office seems ready to move in a new direction, leaving all of us wondering if the window for McCarthy in Minneapolis has already slammed shut, forcing us to face a future that looks entirely different than what we envisioned just a few short months ago. The truth is, this situation stems from the brutal reality that J.J. McCarthy has failed to live up to his status as a high first-round investment, hindered heavily by that devastating meniscus tear during his rookie campaign. Since being drafted, he has struggled to grasp Kevin O'Connell's complex scheme, ranking in the bottom 10 of success rate and adjusted completion percentage across 10 starts this season. We are looking at a situation where the front office under Nolan Teasley is questioning if their quarterback whisperer can actually salvage a player who has already dealt with significant lower body instability. Think about it this way. We have been down this road before with projects like Christian Ponder or Teddy Bridgewater, where the talent was there but the development stalled, and it always ends with a painful parting of ways. Behind closed doors, the coaching staff is likely exhausted by the constant need for conservative play calling to protect a signal caller who lacks the processing speed to thrive in this high-octane offense. Teasley is surely weighing the sunk cost against the potential of a fresh reset, knowing that keeping a struggling former first-rounder only delays the inevitable rebuild. While we all love the potential of our guys, the front office is looking at a massive financial commitment with McCarthy's rookie contract nearing a pivotal extension window, and they are clearly terrified of repeating the same mistakes of the past. It is a gamble, but sometimes a change in scenery is the only way to save a career before it completely bottoms out. For us as Minnesota Vikings fans, it is a bitter pill to swallow. Yet we have to respect that the brass is doing their due diligence to ensure this team remains competitive instead of clinging to a failed experiment for the sake of optics. Skol. The truth is that we are staring at a massive crossroads regarding the identity of this franchise, as the stakes have never been higher for Nolan Teasley to define his era as our general manager. Moving on from J.J. McCarthy while bringing in Shedeur would shift our entire fiscal outlook, potentially freeing up valuable salary cap space and clearing a chaotic quarterback room that has failed to find consistency. By replacing a developmental project with a player who brings such immense media gravity, we fundamentally reshape our roster hierarchy and move away from the lingering pressure of a failed first-round experiment. This strategic pivot would immediately alter our preparation for high-stakes division battles against the Chicago Bears under Ben Johnson, forcing opponents to adjust their defensive schemes to a completely different skill set under center. Imagine how this move changes the tone for our showdowns against the Detroit Lions, where maintaining offensive rhythm is the only path to victory. If we can secure a reliable, long-term anchor, our path to the playoffs becomes much clearer because we stop guessing who is calling signals in late-game situations. This shift effectively signals to the rest of the NFC North that we are finished waiting for development and are prioritizing immediate, high-ceiling playmaking ability to reclaim our throne. It keeps us competitive in a year where every single snap against divisional rivals carries massive weight for our postseason positioning. If we pull the trigger on this, we are essentially telling the league that the Vikings are done with the status quo and are ready to challenge for the top seed. Every Vikings fan knows we have the talent to win right now, and if Teasley makes this bold trade, it confirms that we are all in on a championship run. Skol. The strongest argument for acquiring Shedeur Sanders is the reset it provides, giving us a quarterback with undeniable arm talent who could thrive under Kevin O'Connell without the lingering injury concerns and confidence issues currently plaguing J.J. McCarthy. Bringing in a fresh face with high pedigree creates a clean slate, potentially transforming our offense into a more efficient machine while letting Kyler Murray solidify his role as the clear leader of this franchise. Conversely, the downside is substantial because trading away a former first-round pick so early essentially admits a massive scouting failure by the front office. We would be betting on an unproven commodity over a player we already invested heavy draft capital into, which creates instability. League analysts are split, with many insiders pointing out that Nolan Teasley is under immense pressure to show results, and rumors from around the league suggest other teams are monitoring the Browns' chaotic depth chart with predatory interest. Some scouts argue McCarthy still possesses the raw talent to be elite, suggesting that bailing now could lead to us watching him flourish elsewhere. And I will be straight with you, this move feels like a desperate gamble that we really do not need to make right now. While the intrigue of a new, high-ceiling arm is tempting, stability is often the key to winning championships in this league. If we force a trade for Sanders, we might just be trading one set of headaches for another, while wasting valuable resources that should be spent bolstering our defense or offensive line. The bottom line is that while the idea is fascinating to discuss during the slow month of July, sticking with our current plan and allowing our coaching staff to maximize the talent we already have in the building is the smarter path forward for this team. Skol. The truth is that this potential shift in strategy signifies a major crossroads for our franchise, as general manager Nolan Teasley begins to imprint his unique vision on this roster. We are looking at a pivotal era where the organization is clearly prioritizing stability and clear-cut roles over the uncertainty that has defined the last two seasons. By potentially moving J.J. McCarthy, we are acknowledging that the previous development plan stalled, and we are now pivoting toward a future where veteran leadership like Kyler Murray can operate without the constant pressure of a quarterback controversy lurking behind him. As Minnesota Vikings fans, you should feel a sense of cautious optimism heading into this season because this demonstrates that the front office is finally willing to make tough, objective decisions rather than clinging to sunk costs. It is refreshing to see a regime that values long-term organizational health over sentimental attachments, even if it means admitting that a high draft pick did not pan out as expected. This clear direction helps us avoid the purgatory of middle-of-the-pack results and allows the coaching staff to focus entirely on maximizing the talent currently in the building. Think about it this way. Would you rather stick with an inconsistent prospect who has struggled with injury or take a calculated gamble on a high-ceiling development project like Shedeur Sanders who could learn in a low-pressure environment? This is where it gets real for our championship aspirations, and I am curious to hear your take on the matter. Would you pull the trigger on a McCarthy trade if it meant landing a high-potential project like Sanders to secure our future depth? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Skol! I'll see you in the next one.